So you can't see very well, but my friend Brent Smith and I can't even see you. It's terrible lighting. We're watching the movie Taken, and we're gonna be reviewing that shortly after it's over. And
it should almost be done here.
yeah, it's coming to the climax. So you can see there's a lot of action. This movie hasn't even been released to theaters yet, but we were lucky enough to get it on DVD early. So we'll be reviewing
there's
that.
Always that thumbs up shot.
Always.
Every video.
Every video. There's
a thumbs up. That's just the only thing anybody can think of.
But we'll go ahead and review that afterwards. So everyone, Brent Smith and I are going into Steak and Shake to eat our dinner, and we finished the movie Taken, and it was effing A.
Yes.
It was epic.
Really,
it was everything good that you could ever want to record, and it was just wonderful. But yeah, we'll have to vlog a little more of this. We're going to go home and finish our review, so look for that. Hello, all my YouTube viewers. This is Perryhovermale here with a good friend of mine, Brent Smith, and we're actually tonight reviewing, this is a movie review special, the movie Taken. And Brent has a few cast names to throw out at you, and we're going to review that tonight. This movie isn't even out in theaters yet. You said you think it comes out in February?
Yeah, I think it comes out in January, February. It doesn't come out till next year. So I was really excited to jump on this and get it reviewed, so we could be one of the few reviews up of this movie that hasn't even been out yet. So, like he said, it was Taken. That's the name of the movie. It stars Liam Neeson. He needs no introduction, obviously. Jedi, of course.
Jedi Master.
I believe it's pronounced Famke Janssen. She was in X-Men, played as Phoenix. And then also Maggie Grace, and Maggie Grace played as Shannon on Lost. The guy who wrote it, Luc Besson, what he also did was he wrote Transporter 3, which just recently came out a few weeks ago, and it was alright, but that's a different review. And he also directed Leon the Professional and The Fifth Element, and Leon the Professional is still considered one of the best action movies made. So let's get into some liner notes we had about the acting and things of that like. So, first things first, one of the things we noticed that was very apparent was that the plot and the backstory was really well developed for an action movie. You see most action movies like Die Hard or something like that, and it's just like, these are the bad guys,
and here are the punches.
This is what you have to do.
There's no character story there. Yeah. One thing that I thought extremely about Liam Neeson is that it showed a lot of, in the beginning, you saw some of what his situation is. It presented everything. It wasn't in depth at that part, and throughout the movie you're like, okay, I understand what this character's going through. He's divorced from his wife, and I'm not going to say much else other than that, or else it would be almost like a spoiler. But one thing that I thought, and I'll throw this out and then we can get back to where we were with the main part of the review, is that I thought the commercials, the previews for this movie were completely
very deceiving.
Outstanding, but deceiving to the extent.
The trailer, actually one thing I wanted to mention about the trailer was that this doesn't happen too often, but every once in a while, when I first saw the trailer, there's this point, and you can see the trailer, you can go to your search box up here and check out the trailer.
Yeah.
The shock that I went through when he was just like, you have to get taken. And then you see her pulled from under the bed. This is the
hard part. They'll take you. That's what.
Yes, exactly. And that just shocked me when I first saw it. I didn't see it coming at all.
One thing that I wondered is like, what is going on to where he knew what was going to happen and why it would happen. And then he talks about some of the skills that he has, and he says to these guys that are taking her that he would pretty much, basically he's telling them that he will be hell for them if they go through with this. And then he follows through with that, obviously. And overall, I thought that the trailer, it shows you just a little clip of the movie, and I thought the clips that they show you are probably the best parts of the movie. It's the real meat of it, and I thought that was really good. But the biggest thing that I liked about that is that I wasn't walking in knowing everything about the movie. I think previews today go in and they show you everything about a movie. You walk in and you just know everything. It's like, why see the movie? You saw it in the preview. But this, it shows you just enough to leave an interest or a taste in your mouth, and then you want to go and you want to watch it. And the only reason that I was able to watch is because Brent has different connections to where he gets movie. And we're not revealing our sources.
No,
by any means.
Not at all.
We were able to see this movie months before it's even been released to theaters, and so that's why I was glad to be able to review this film, so that it would be up in advance for you to find out whether or not you want to see it. And so we'll get back to the main part of what we were talking about.
And just another thing, just about trailers, real quick. I just we can get right back into this, but 7 Pounds, that new Will Smith movie.
Very good.
Everybody just, when they see that, they think like, okay, what's it about? I have not heard one person that looks at it, and I think that's fantastic. I think that's great. Too many trailers give too much away, and that's great. I'm glad that it was so ambiguous.
The one thing about 7 Pounds, and that also is another review, but it brought it up to be like he was going to be doing something supernatural for these 7 people.
Yeah.
And it didn't tell you. It almost made you think it was something and then it was something else. I think that it should have at least directed a little more towards what it really was, but I did like the preview. I liked the movie. It was a good one. But back
to this. We thought at the very beginning, Liam Neeson, his acting, it's kind of wooden. It's just like
it's dry. It's very hello. Where are you? What are you doing? How are you today? And that changes though. It does a complete 180 really.
Yeah. There's a point where just this problem will present itself, and you can see in the trailer, she's getting dragged away, and once that happens, that's when his acting chops really comes in. And there's one scene specifically where when he decides he's going to fly to Paris to try and find his daughter, you can see him sitting there, and he's sitting sitting back in his chair, and you can just see in his eyes
what he's feeling,
you
what
can see
thinking.
him analyzing the situation. You can see anger, you can see rage, and you can just see him planning his next step, and I think that's amazing. It's just such good acting on his part.
You even commented on that when we were watching the movie.
Correct.
I think one of the greatest things that I think I commented when I saw it in the movie is when his daughter was being taken. He was on the phone with her, and just at that moment I said the switch is going to flip. You looked over and you're like, and then the flip switched. The switch flipped.
Yes, otherwise.
It goes both ways. Whatever. But all of a sudden it got in the fast lane, and it just everything. Whoo! And that's another thing, is that the story was so developed, and it wasn't just like a 20-minute solution. Like so many movies, you're presented with a problem, and then 20 minutes later, it's been solved and the credits roll. This movie, it's drawn out, you have detailed issues and you have detailed resolutions to those specific issues, and then there's the overall problem that is solved, and I thought that was masterful how they did that.
Yes. Another, it's kind of a pseudo issue, I suppose, and that's the fact that while it did some things different than what most action movies would do, it was still very cliche. Things still played out how they normally would. You can tell that it's its own take on something, on this action genre, but it's just not. It just plays out the same as any other one would. And another thing, Liam Neeson is his character. You never feel like he's in danger from another human being. He is always on top. He's throwing the first punch, firing the first bullet. That's always how he is. If anything, the environment poses more of a threat to Liam Neeson's character than any of the bad guys do. So
I think a lot of that can be credited towards his former employment, and it never really comes out and says who he worked for or what he did exactly. But I won't say it because you don't even find out why he has the skills that he does until about one third way through the movie, I think. And it doesn't exactly come out and say I worked for this agency or whatever. It just comes out and says that he had special skills that he acquired from his work, and I think that that is credited towards why he was always on top and he was never having any issue with other people, mostly. I mean, there were a few times where he was in a really tough spot, but it was like for like a minute, and then all of a sudden he was right out of that and everyone was chasing him again. It was never that he was running away to an extreme extent because he was afraid that, oh, if they get me, that's it and it's over. I mean, they would get him and then he'd just break the heck out. And there was nothing other than that. Moving on.